Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's session. My name is Livingstone Wankwo, and I'm the Regional Technical Manager from Cambium Networks. I oversee East and West Africa. So just like my colleague Leo has introduced, we also have with us our colleague Rachel, who is the Cambium Certified Sales Specialist that assists me to reach out to you guys. So thanks for joining us. Today I will be introducing you to the Cambium Networks Enterprise Wi-Fi portfolio. And this is how I have planned the session to go. So first of all, even though the topic of today is the Cambium Networks Enterprise Wi-Fi switching portfolio, I would just like to use a minute or two to review the entire Cambium Networks portfolio so that you can at least know which other products that you can integrate as part of your solution to your customers. Then after that, we are going to look at the Cambium Networks Wi-Fi access points, which we call the CN pilot. So in the course of the session, you are going to discover that we have two broad categories of enterprise Wi-Fi access points. One of them, we call it the CN pilot. And then the other one, we call it the Xeros series Wi-Fi access points. And then after that, we are going to look at the latest kid on the block in the realm of Wi-Fi, which is called Wi-Fi 6. After that, we'll summarize all the things that we have discussed for today, and then we'll take your questions. So, however, in the course of the presentation, should you have any question, you can type the question at the right-hand side of the screen. There's a chat box there. You can type in your question, and during the Q&A session, we are going to take your questions and answer them. So what is the Cambium Networks the Cambium Networks vision for enterprise networks? Our vision for enterprise Wi-Fi and switching is that we want to provide a solution that is scalable, starting from the ability to provide services for small offices up to the highest density applications. And these solutions are going to be application aware. That means you are able to do things like application visibility with them. And then they will be simple to deploy and also to be operatable on a cloud-based system. At the end of the day, we want to deliver these solutions with the lowest total cost of ownership in the industry. That's our vision for our enterprise networks. Now let's look at the broader Cambium Networks portfolio. So let's start from the top. We have the network management and applications there. We've got the CN Maestro and XMS, as well as EasyPass. So CN Maestro and XMS, these are management applications that you can use to manage your Wi-Fi enterprise deployments. So when I'm talking about enterprise access, we're referring to enterprise Wi-Fi access points as well as enterprise Wi-Fi switches, or access switches rather. So CN Maestro, what's the difference between CN Maestro and XMS? CN Maestro can manage both your point-to-point and point-to-multipoint fixed wireless broadband deployments, in addition to being a management application for your Wi-Fi access points. Whereas XMS is the platform that can manage only your Xeros Wi-Fi access points. So CN Maestro would manage both so traditionally CN Maestro manages your CN Pilot and your CN Pilot devices and the point-to-point and point-to-multipoint devices. But now there is a convergence where the CN Maestro can manage both the CN Pilot and the Xeros access points. All right, Link Planner. Link Planner is a free link budgeting tool which you can use to perform network design, as well as using it to generate bill of materials before you place your order. CN Archer is a tool that simplifies deployment. So it can be installed on Android devices. It can also be installed on iOS devices. So this simplifies your installation. So where you usually use two people to install a link, only one person will be able to deliver that link. Then lastly, CN Heat is an application which has a heat map that you can use as part of site survey to know the areas where your service covers. So that's just a quick highlight of our network management and applications. Then for point-to-point, we have point-to-point products, both licensed and unlicensed. We've just highlighted the two out of the entire point-to-point portfolio. And these two that we've highlighted there, PTP 670 and PTP 550, these are license-free or sub 6 gigahertz point-to-point radios. They come in two form factors, connectorized, where you can connect it to an additional and an external antenna, as well as the integrated models. PTP 550, as you can see, you can use it to deliver as much as 1 gigabit of throughput. So we recommend that one for short range deployments, and PTP 670 is reserved for your most challenging links and where the carrier grade type of features are required. Point to multi-point, we have two broad platforms, the PMP 450M, which we could name the CN Medusa, as well as ePMP. So, and then for Wi-Fi, our converged Wi-Fi platform, we call it the CN Pilot Xeros. And you can see that it's divided into two platforms. You have the Series X and the Series E. Series E is the CN Pilot that I told you before, and then Series X is from Xeros. By the way, Xeros Wi-Fi business used to be owned by Riverbed Solutions, and last year, after going public, that was our first strategic move. We acquired the Xeros business from Riverbed Technologies. So because of that, our Wi-Fi access point portfolio is now rich with the ability to deploy different types of Wi-Fi applications, whether they are high density applications or whether for low density applications, whether you want application visibility and control or not, we all have an access point that can deliver in those type of situations. CN Reach is our narrow band, both point-to-point and point-to-multi-point solution that you can use to deploy in your IoT kind of deployments. But this one is an industrial IoT deployment and not the types of IoT that you might see in your homes. CN Matrix is the name that we call our switches, access switches. We are only manufacturing access switches at the moment, which integrates well with your Wi-Fi as well as the CN Maestro. So that's a quick review of the entire portfolio that we have from Cambium Networks. So let's focus on the topic of the day. So this is our value proposition for the enterprise access. We have solutions that are scalable, and how they do that is we have software-defined radios that can deliver in a high-density platform. They also scale in the sense that they are managed in the cloud. And because of this, we have only less equipment due to the high-density radios that we have on the access points. So less equipment is required, which in turn reduces the total cost of ownership. Our access solutions are simple to provision. We support zero-touch provisioning, so you don't really need experienced IT staff or engineers to do the deployments. You configure, you predefine policies and then push them once these devices are online on the network. And we also support policy-based automation. We also define policies that can be pushed, and the devices will be segmented based on predefined policies. Just like I mentioned before, the solutions can be managed either on-premise or in the cloud. Our access solutions are also secure, especially the Wi-Fi solutions. We support secure onboarding, and if your organization already has a Microsoft Azure or Google enterprise network or account, we can integrate with those. Okay, so this is our part of the way that these are the components that make up our solution. Just like other OEMs, they usually have a controller which is centralized. So assuming you have your access points connecting to that controller and you refuse to renew a particular subscription for a year or for a period, those access points are going to lose connectivity to the controller, and then they cannot do anything. Our solution is not like that. Our solution is distributed, so we have distributed control. However, the management can be centralized where needed. So decisions, each of the access points are independent. They can take decisions on their own. If they lose connectivity to the management application or device, they will still be taking decisions and be functioning. Okay, so the management, the centralized management, is just to make the management easy. We also have software-defined radios, and what do we mean by this? Usually, most enterprise access points these days are dual band, which means they support 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz radios. Now, what usually happens in a typical dual band access point is the radios are fixed. One radio is designed for 2.4 and the other one is designed for 5 gigahertz. So when you now have a mix of clients, in a case where you now have more 5 gigahertz clients than 2.4, you will have to install a new access point. In our own solution, because of this software definability of the radios, we are able to convert a previously defined 2.4 gigahertz radio to act as a 5 gigahertz radio when the need arises. Then, like I've also mentioned, we have simple onboarding mechanisms. We support different types of onboarding, and we also support application control and visibility, which means that you are able to either police a certain application by assigning a specific bandwidth or denying that particular application. For instance, if you in your enterprise network that you have deployed our access point in, you do not want people to access Facebook within working hours, you could deny that application, and this is enforced right on the edge at the access point. Zero touch provisioning, I mentioned that earlier, policy-based automation, and then of course with our CN Maestro and our XMS, we are able to provide network automation and assurance. Intelligent design, so this one is a graphical representation of our software-defined radios. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen, this is an example of a software-defined access point that has 4 radios. Out of those 4 radios, 5 of them has been defined as 5 gigahertz, while 1 of them has been defined as 2.4. Assuming initially you had 2 2.4 gigahertz radios and 2 5 gigahertz radios, one of them could be converted because you had more clients added to the network. So that's the advantage of our intelligent design. Because of this, you are going to reduce the number of cable runs. You are also going to reduce the number of ports that you are going to use on your Ethernet switches. We support different types of sizing for your deployments. For typical approximate sizing of the access points would be that you require 1 access point for in a hospitality application, like maybe in a hotel, you need 1 AP per room, and then in an educational environment, you need 1 AP per classroom. This is just a quick approximation, but you still need to do your planning, and we've got free planning tools that you can use to plan your Wi-Fi. We support a freemium licensing model where we provide you with essential and basic functionalities for free. Whereas if you need advanced capabilities, then an example of such advanced capabilities would be things like application visibility and policy control. And if you need extended data retention, so maybe for free, we support data retention for 7 days. And if you need more than that, maybe you need like up to a year, then you've got to subscribe to a specific license. All right, so this is just what we support on our enterprise access point at a glance. You can see we've got all the types of hardware that you might want to use. Indoor access points, entry-level access points with only 2 radios, 2 antennas, 2 by 2, high density up to 4 by 4, and then latest model that we've got with our Wi-Fi 6 is it has 8 antennas, 8 by 8, also with software-defined radios embedded. I've told you about our management, 2 major management for managing our enterprise access devices, which are our enterprise switches and the enterprise access points. We have the CN Maestro, which manages by our legacy CN Pilot devices, and by default, XMS Cloud will manage the Xeros portfolio. And then we support various types of applications: guest access, easily done; multi-tenant dashboard for managed service providers; application visibility and control; location services; and of course, we also support third-party plugins via APIs. And you can deploy these access points in different verticals and segments, like in small offices, in hotels, in your typical enterprise offices, classrooms, auditorium, and stadiums and convention centers. So you might be wondering, now that we have heard about the CN Pilot and Xeros, how do we choose? How do we know when to choose which? So this is just an easy guide on when to know which one to deploy. When you have less than 300 employees, maybe in an office that you need to support, you can go, and you do not require application visibility and control, we recommend you go with the CN Pilot and also manage it with the CN Maestro. But if you need advanced capabilities, you need high density, you need to support high density applications where a lot of people, like in convention centers, maybe in stadiums, you go for the Xeros and manage it with the XMS Cloud or XMS Enterprise, which is the on-premise version. And then, of course, you need application visibility and control. You go with the XMS, and everything is also tied with the CN Maestro and CN Matrix. Both XMS and CN Maestro, they can both manage our CN Maestro access switch. All right, so let's look at the CN Pilot devices in details. Like I said earlier on, this is a bundle of the CN Pilot, the CN Maestro, and the CN Matrix. Everything bundled together to deliver your access enterprise network. The CN Pilot would provide wireless services to your phones and laptops to connect them to the network. And then the CN Matrix, which is a switch, would power these access points, and then CN Maestro will manage everything right from the cloud. And like I said, we've got a freemium licensing model. If you don't need advanced functionalities, you are good with the free model. But if you need advanced functionalities, then you need to pay for the license. So this gives you an overview of the features supported by these access points. So let's discuss the CN Pilot Enterprise Indoor Wi-Fi access points. So for all our access points, we've got both indoor models and outdoor models. We're talking about the indoor models now. Look at, you can see the manufacturer suggested retail price as low as $175 for E42, E4 CN Pilot E425 and CN Pilot E430. You can see that the E425 has 3 gigabit ports while E430 has 4 gigabit ports. These are both wall plate access points for recommended for hospitality deployments like hotels. So this is the type that you install one in a room. So maybe you are installing Wi-Fi solution for a hostel, or you are installing in a hotel. You can install one of these in each room. Okay, now over to the ceiling mount or wall mount indoor access points, which has greater range. So you can see that the EIRP on 5 gigahertz, it's 30.5 dBm for E410 and E600 is 34 dBm. What's the difference between E410 and E600? Because they are both indoor, they can be mounted on the ceiling or on the wall. They are all omnidirectional 360 degrees coverage access points. You can see the value that you have for the E600 is the fact that it's got a 4x4 antenna. So it has 4 antennas, and because of that, it's suitable for high density deployments in places like auditoriums. Okay, and you can also see, because of the number of users that it supports, the E600 supports 512 users. It has 2 gigabit ports. One of the other ports can be used as an uplink to connect to another device. Now let's talk about the outdoor access points. So for still on CN Pilot. For CN Pilot outdoor, we have E500, E501, E502. What's the difference between the three? E500 has an omnidirectional antenna, so it will give you a 360 degrees coverage. E501 and E502 are sectorial. They have an integrated sector antennas, and you want to deploy them in places where you require longer range, but you don't require a 360 degrees coverage. If you are to use the E501 or E502, then you are going to deploy 4 of them in a specific location to obtain 360 degrees coverage. Because of this, they can give you a longer range. All right, so E505 is our entry-level outdoor CN Pilot access point. You can see the price there. It's a 2x2 access point. So for 360 degrees coverage, where you really do not need a very long range, you can deploy the CN Pilot E505. And you can also see another difference between the E500, 501, and 502 is that they are 11 AC Wave 1. However, they have 2 gigabit Ethernet ports, which I will show you in another slide how you can utilize that for the 2 gigabit Ethernet port to utilize them on a mesh. So E510 and E700 are the same. The difference is the fact that E700 has 4 antennas as against E510 that has 2. E700 also supports 512 users, whereas E510 supports 256. You can see that almost all these access points, they have LTE filters, because you know that LTE operates on 2.3 gigahertz band and 2.5 gigahertz bands, whereas we've got the 2.4 gigahertz band for Wi-Fi. So this LTE can interfere with the Wi-Fi signals if they are not filtered. And all our outdoors access points, they've got these LTE filters. Okay, we've also got our residential and small business routers that you can deploy. And we have both dual band access points for the small business and also single band. The single band one is R190. They're all 2x2 access points. Number of SSID that is supported is 4. For the E series is 16. And for R190V, it supports voice, so you can actually connect a SIP phone on it. So I told you about mesh. You can mesh all our enterprise access points. We don't have a dedicated model like some OEMs do for meshing. All our enterprise access points, they do support mesh on the CN Pilot. And I'll show you how you can utilize this mesh for backhauling. So maybe you are deploying in a school, for instance, and there was this particular classroom where it is not allowed for you to run cables. In that particular situation, you have to do mesh. And you can, since they are dual band, you can use the 5 gigahertz band for the mesh, and then you use the 2.4 gigahertz for the access to phones and laptops and other smart devices. Then the CN Pilot E500, I told you it's got 2 gigabit Ethernet ports. One of them is the PoE in port, and then the other one is the PoE out port. And this is where it is required. You can see that the E500 is powering a subscriber module, a Cambium subscriber module, which connects back to a PMP450 access point, serving as the wireless backhaul. So this is our own recommended method for meshing, because it gives you the full capacity that the access points can support. Whereas this previous meshing would, depending on the number of mesh hops that you have, you are going to be halving your capacity. All right, so what are the use cases for our CN Pilot access points? You can use it for your small business and medium SME kind of deployments. And like I said, you deploy it like in a bundle. You bundle the CN Metric switch with the CN Maestro and the CN Pilot. They are all affordable. And then another use case is in hospitality, where you can combine both the indoor and the outdoor access points. You can see that indoor E425H and E430 are deployed in the rooms, and E410 as well is deployed in some maybe offices. E600 is deployed in meeting rooms where you need high density, and that's because it supports 500 users, 512 users rather. And then you use the CN Matrix 2000 series switch to power the access points and provide connectivity, network connectivity for them. E700, which is our high performance outdoor access point, would provide wireless access in the relaxation points within the hotels and the sit-outs. CN Maestro is used to manage everything end to end. In educational applications also, same thing applies, just like for hospitality. You can see we can utilize almost all the CN Pilot portfolio to provide the solution. And then where you need to deploy hotspots, of course, those ones are only going to be the outdoor access points, and all the outdoor access points can be used. If you need the shortest range will be provided by CN Pilot E505, followed by the E510 and E500 501. 501 and 502 are sectors, so they will provide you only focused coverage with a longer range. E700 is for high density outdoor deployment because it's got a 4x4 antennas, and also it supports 512 users. CN Maestro supports managed service providers kind of business where you have multiple tenants, and they are all going to be branded separately. So each tenant do not know that they are co-located. This is supported by the CN Maestro, but it's going to be a pro service. So this particular feature requires a license. And what is the value proposition in summary for the CN Pilot and CN Maestro? It's economical in the sense that we've got the premium licensing model we allow you to use basic functionalities for free. And then when you need advanced capabilities, you've got to pay for a license. Everything is converged in the sense that you can connect your point-to-point or point-to-multi-point backhauls for the Wi-Fi, and everything is integrated by the CN Maestro and managed from one single dashboard. It's simple in the sense that the provisioning is zero touch. Simple in the sense that for basic features, you don't need licensing. And of course, this reduces the amount of time and cost that is going to be spent. So we've got a snapshot of what the CN Maestro looks like. You can see the CN Maestro is hierarchical. You can start with a network and then you have a site. So let's say a school, for instance, like what we've got here, WiFi means West African Institute of Finance and Economic Management. For those of you who are residing in Lagos, you should know Satellite Town. So WiFi is also called CBN School in Satellite Town. For this particular customer had previously deployed other OEM solution and they were not satisfied. So they called one of our partners, met with them and proposed the Cambium solution. We went in there, helped them to do the survey. They were using a 10 meg backhaul or internet access, but they could barely use 2 meg out of it. So when we deployed our own solution, the 10 meg was no longer enough because they now have very good access for each user and they had to upgrade. You can see now that they are able to do up to 17 meg. So this is the Wi-Fi school. We created it as a site, and then, like I said, it's hierarchical. You drill down further into the site and you get all these details. You see the total number of clients, and pardon me if you're not seeing it clearly. You see the total number of clients that are connected, 54 of them. And at the time that this screenshot was done, they were pulling a traffic on the download of up to 23 meg and 1.2 meg upload. So you see also the channels that are used to connect the phones, both for 5 gigahertz and for 2.4 gigahertz. You can see the client's statistics by SNR. SNR means signal to noise ratio, which is a measure of how healthy the network is. So as you can see from the screen, especially on the left side, on the left bottom of the screen, you see a lot of green bars there representing that the SNRs for most of the clients are good. So green would be an SNR of more than 15 dB. So if you have SNR of above 15 dB, it means you have a good connection. So the users are really enjoying the service. We can see that from this snapshot. There's only one whose SNR is between 0 and 5, sorry, between 0 and 10. And we would be able to also detect who that client is. Maybe he's so far away from the access point. We also have the ability to give you granular details of including the type of phones or type of devices that have been used to connect the Wi-Fi. This simplifies troubleshooting. You can see from the screen here that the first user there is using a Samsung phone and the band that he's using to connect is 2.4. Look at his signal level and you can see his SNR, 47 dB. That's quite impressive. We also show you the amount of data that they have used. So this can be utilized for billing purposes if you integrate it with a radio server. That's it for CN Pilot. Now let's talk about the Xeros. Like I said, Xeros was used to be part of Riverbed Solutions, but we acquired the Wi-Fi business last year from Riverbed. And Xeros is known for developing high-density Wi-Fi access points that you can deploy in places like convention centers. One of our customers is Microsoft. They solely deploy Xeros high-density access points for their convention centers on an annual basis. Okay, so you can also bundle your CN Xeros portfolio with our CN Matrix switch and XMS. So XMS is the management application that would manage the Xeros access point. The CN Matrix is the access switch that you can use for this solution. And like I said, the Xeros is the one that contains our software-defined radios. And this is also the platform that supports the application control and visibility. We have, so the cloud-based control supports all these features. Easy Pass, which is a suite of different ways of creating hotspots. Zero touch provisioning is supported. Of course, we also support multi-tenancy. And we also support policy enforcement from layer 1 to layer 7 and analytics as well. These are the Xeros indoor access points. You can see because they have more radios and they also support more advanced capabilities, they are more expensive than the CN Pilot. So if you need basic and entry-level functionality, you go with the CN Pilot. If you need advanced functionality, including application visibility and control, including the ability to use the software-defined radios, you go with the Xeros portfolio. And if you do that, you can achieve as much as 13 gigabit per second per access point. And also, with the Xeros portfolio, we support up to 960 clients per access point, and those will the radio that supports 960 clients is the XD4s and the XA4s because they've got 4 radios in them. Okay, simple onboarding, different types of onboarding, which we call Easy Pass. A guest, a known guest with an unknown device, unknown guest with unknown device, IoT devices as well, all are supported. And of course, the benefit is to reduce your costs, to simplify your deployment. Okay. So this one is just to re-emphasize on the Xeros portfolio use cases. If you want to deploy it in a lodging situation, you can deploy the 2 radio solution. If you need more high density, like in classroom or conference rooms, you can also deploy either the 2 radios or the 3 or 4 radio solutions. Of course, in convention centers, you need more high density, and then you deploy only the 4 radio solution. And you can see that from the 4 radios are software defined. 2 radios are not software defined. Okay, so this one only shows you how your traditional, I explained this earlier on, but this is the graphical view. On the right side, you see that the traditional Wi-Fi access point will waste more access points when you have more 5 gigahertz clients. But if you deploy one Xeros 4 radio solution, which are software defined, you can initially you could have 3 or 2.4 gigahertz radios, but as you added more clients that are 5 gigahertz capable, you needed to either deploy more access point or to configure the existing access point for 5 gigahertz. And of course, the cheapest option would be to utilize the Xeros solution, which is software defined. Application visibility and control, we support up over 2,000 applications, ranging from business applications to social media applications. You can either prioritize the application, you can limit their bandwidth, or you can block them entirely. Okay, so that means we integrate with firewall vendors to provide you this service. So briefly, let's look at our switching. We've got a rich portfolio of switches that support zero-touch provisioning. There are layer 2 and layer 3 switches, both PoE models and non-PoE, 8-port model basically, and 24-port models, 16-port models, and up to 48-port models. They support SFP and SFP+, and also 2.5 gig and 5 gigabit per second uplinks. 4 SFP for the 24 models, and for the 8-port model, we'll have 2 SFP ports. Now, lastly, let's talk about Wi-Fi 6, which everybody is discussing these days. So what is Wi-Fi 6? You know that there's been an evolution of the Wi-Fi technologies, and Wi-Fi technologies are basically any technology that supports the 802.11 standard, the IEEE 802.11 standard. And there have been a lot of amendments of this standard right from the inception. They've amended it from the prime 802.11 to 802.11a, 802.11b, 802.11g, 802.11n, 802.11ac, and then 802.11ax. So now, the naming of the standard 802.11 does not look friendly, just like what you obtain in the cellular technology world. In the cellular technology world, you've got generations as well, and they've decided to name it like in 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, now 5G. So the organization that is responsible for certifying devices that are Wi-Fi capable, called the Wi-Fi Alliance, they decided to also adopt the same type of naming standard, just like what obtains in the cellular world. So they started with the 802.11n standard, and they named it Wi-Fi 4. So when any user of this Wi-Fi technology hears the name Wi-Fi 4, and then he hears Wi-Fi 5, he knows that the Wi-Fi 5 has an increased performance and functionality than Wi-Fi 4. So Wi-Fi 4 is the name for the IEEE 802.11n standard. Wi-Fi 5 is the name for the IEEE 802.11ac standard. And you know that the 802.11n standard supported a theoretical maximum data rate of 600 meg, but typically devices were able to access up to 150 Mbps. Wi-Fi 5, which is 11ac, also provided support for up to 9 gigabits per second, but it was not realizable because at the time there were also work ongoing for Wi-Fi 6. So what they couldn't implement in Wi-Fi 5 was now implemented in Wi-Fi 6. So when you hear Wi-Fi 6, this represents the IEEE 802.11ax. So that's Wi-Fi 6. In terms of speed and performance, real world and data rates, what are you expecting to get with these Wi-Fi 4, Wi-Fi 5, and Wi-Fi 6? 11n is Wi-Fi 4, like I said, and if you deploy it with a 40 megahertz channel on a 5 gigahertz spectrum, you are going to get a real-world throughput of up to 115 Mbps on your device. But the supported data rates, based on what was implemented, is up to 450 Mbps. And then for AC, peak data rates from the access points would be up to 3.4 gigabits per second because they use the 4x4 access points. And then real-world throughput, you'll be able to see up to 253 Mbps per second. And I've seen this type of throughput on my phone, my iPhone. And now, Wi-Fi 6, which is 11ax, promises to data rate of up to 9.6 gigabits per second because it uses 8x8 antennas, so that's the standard. And then real-world throughput that we expect to get on a 40 megahertz channel, on an 80 megahertz channel is 840, just approximated to 1 gig. Okay. So this is just a summary of the what you expect to get. Like we mentioned, 150 megabits per second for 11N or Wi-Fi 4, 250 megabits per second for 11AC or Wi-Fi 5, and real-world throughput of up to 1 gig for 11AX or Wi-Fi 6. So because Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 5, they both support what we call channel bonding. You can bond 80 megahertz channels to obtain 160 megahertz of spectrum. You would be able to achieve up to 2.5 gigabits per second. But on the average, real-world throughput is approximately a gig. So what are the benefits of Wi-Fi 6 that everybody is talking about? It's all about efficiency. So Wi-Fi 6 is called high efficiency technology. We are still using similar spectrum, even though there is also a discussion, especially the regulator that is taking the lead is FCC in the US, who has opened up new spectrum like on the 6 gigahertz so that we can use with Wi-Fi 6. So, but apart from that, using similar spectrum that Wi-Fi 5 was using, Wi-Fi 6 is going to deliver more in terms of number of users that are supported, especially using the multi-user OFDMA technology, as well as multi-user MIMO, which is also being used currently by Wi-Fi 5. It's going to support longer battery life. It's going to support faster rates of almost 4 times of it. You have 256 QAM as the maximum modulation that is supported by 11AC, but 11AX or Wi-Fi 6 supports 1024 QAM. And like I mentioned, 11AC could not see beyond 4x4 access points, but 11AX already has 8x8 access points, and Cambium has also developed an 11AX or Wi-Fi 6 access point that is 8x8. Because we are moving from 4x4 access points to 8x8, we can exchange our range by 3 dB. And in wireless, a 3 dB improvement means that you are doubling your range or the signal. All right, so this is the first offering from Cambium Networks, the 802.11ax solution or Wi-Fi 6. You can see the specifications there. It has a 3 radio, which can be configured in 2 ways. So those 3 radios, one of them would be a 2.4 gigahertz radio, while the other remaining 2 radios are 5 gigahertz. You can deploy them as 4x4, 2 4x4 5 gigahertz radios, or you can deploy it as a single 8x8 5 gigahertz radio. These are all software defined. Okay, you can see that the Ethernet port support is 2. One of them is a 1 gigabit Ethernet port, while the other one is a 5 gigabit Ethernet port. We also support BLE version 4 for your advertisements, and you can use it in all these verticals, in healthcare, in higher education, retail, and hospitality as well. So we have a dual band sensor in this radio, dedicated sensor for 5 gigahertz as well as 2.4. Most other platforms only have a single band sensor, but we have dual band sensor that is dedicated. And you can see the MSRP is just $1,000. I told you about the 2 types of deployment for the XV. So this is the XV3-8, 802.11ax access point or Wi-Fi 6 access point. So like I said, you can either deploy it as 2 times 5 gigahertz radios, or one single 5 gigahertz radio that is 8x8. And why are you going to do this? For now, we do not have enough clients that supports the Wi-Fi 6 protocol. So if you are deploying this access point now, you will probably deploy it as 4x4 so that it can also communicate with the other 11 AC or Wi-Fi 5 clients. And then when you now have more Wi-Fi 6 clients, you can reconfigure it in software. That's the advantage of the software defined ability to one single 8x8. So the second Wi-Fi 6 access point we have is a 2x2 one. Remember, the first one, the XV3-8, is a 3x3 access point, and it is an 8x8 access point rather, with 3 radios. So this one is a 2x2 with 2 radios. Okay, and the only one single Ethernet port is supported, and that is the 2.5 gigabits per second port. You can manage it either via the XMS Cloud or CN Maestro. So in terms of comparing both of them, you can see that the XV2-2 is the entry-level Wi-Fi 6 access point, which you can deploy for your mid-market enterprise, hospitality, logistics, or retail. And it's got all those good features that our Xeros access points have as well. Okay, so this one is to show you the total amount of throughput based on the testing that we did that you can achieve. We have achieved an aggregate of approximately 2 gigabits per second on the XV3-8 access point, and that was done by configuring by using the 3x3 radio, so one client per each radio. So we talked about the range. This one is just to show you that you are able to get a 3 dB difference. Look at the screen from the top, the middle top. You will see that with 11 AC at 1 meter, you need a higher power like minus 39 at 1 meter, but for the AX you need a lower minus 36. No, sorry, rather is the other way around. The access point is being received higher at minus 36 with 11 AX, whereas at 1 meter you need minus 39, which is smaller. Okay, we talked about this before. Real world throughput that you can achieve if you are using a 40 megahertz channel is approximately 450 megabits per second. If you are using one single 80, that gets to 900 or close to a gig. If you are using two 80 megahertz channels, then you are getting up to 2 gigabits per second. Okay, these are the phones that we captured that supports 11AX at the moment, as at the time of capturing this data. That's the Samsung S10 and Apple iPhone 11. So those are the ones that support AX. Maybe there's an update that I might do later on. So why do you need Wi-Fi 6? Why do you have to go with Cambium networks for deploying your Wi-Fi 6 access points? Is because we've got multi-radio access points that can separate legacy Wi-Fi clients like the 11AC and the 11AX for better efficiency. We've also have software-defined radios that allows you to turn on 11AX only when it is valuable to do so. And of course, we have a fully standards compliant solution. Some of the other vendors rushed to implement a pre-standard chipset, which did not include all the features. And of course, our price is highly competitive. We've successfully deployed the 8 Wi-Fi 6 access points in Germany, in this school, ISL, in Luxembourg. 220 APs were deployed, and in also Brook County School, 900 APs were deployed. In Denison schools, 80 APs were deployed. More and more APs are being deployed. So this is where we test. So we don't just publish these results. We have a standard labs where we do all those testings. So to wrap up, I've introduced you to the CN pilot devices, the Xeros access point, as well as our Wi-Fi 6 access point. So how do I know when to use which? Let's start with the indoor. For entry level indoor, you can use our CN pilot E430 or E425 for your hospitality applications where you deploy one per room. E410 for your standard enterprise deployment in offices. And then if you need to deploy Wi-Fi 6, you have the XV2-2. When higher performance is required, especially because of higher density, you need up to 512 users support. You deploy CN Pilot E600, or you deploy the Xeros XD2-240 or XD2-230. So you will deploy the Xeros because you needed advanced capabilities. And then when high density is required, deploy your Wi-Fi 6 8x8 access point, or you deploy the Xeros XD4 240 or XA4 240. For outdoor, we have the Xeros XH2 240, E700, E510, E500. I already explained all those ones previously. So in summary, this is all the portfolio that we have for our enterprise access switching and enterprise access Wi-Fi. Everything is managed by XMS Cloud or CN Maestro Cloud or on-premises. And these are the switches that we have. Layer 2 switches, layer 3 switches, ranging from 8 ports to 48 ports. So that's it for this session. We would like to take your questions now.
Livingston, I think we can go on with Rachel's presentation. In the meantime, whoever got some question can submit through the chat panel.
Okay.
Rachel, making you as a presenter. Okay. Rachel, are you there? Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rachel Mama. I'm the Cambium network sales specialist working with Microview. So I welcome you all to this webinar. So I'll be taking us from the Connected Partner Program and its benefits. So it's a way Cambium Networks had made it for us to be able to benefit, not just being partner for being sake, but to also benefit from it. So that's what we are going to say today. So because this is the goal of the program, to provide customers with innovative wireless broadband solutions that enable better information and better decision makings. So now going straight to the benefits of the Connected Partner programs, we have two levels, Connected Partner Plus and Connected Partner. So for you to be able to be a Connected Partner Plus, there is a growth plan that you're supposed to reach, then for you to be able to enter that level. But basically, once you register as a partner, you're already a Connected Partner, and you're entitled to all those benefits of baseline product discounts. Cambium always release some discounts for its partners yearly, so you benefit from it. And then due registration. So this due registration, in the next slides, we'll be able to go into it in details. And then market development funds. So if you as a partner, you have people who you are technically certified, you'll be able to get up to 50% support in order to develop the market. But if not technically certified, then you're eligible for 25% of it. Then we also have the demo gear, not for resale. So as a connected partner, each year you can get a set of our equipment in order for, it's not for resale, just for you to test and know the benefits of using that particular product to solve a problem. So you could actually have a deal that you're pursuing. So you could use that particular product, give it to just use it as a test in order to prove to the client or your customer that that product actually works very well. Qualified leads for certified partners, free virtual sales and technical training. This one we're also going to look into it very well. As a connected partner, you are eligible for the sales training free virtual through our portal. And then promotions, it's you'll be getting notifications once you sign up for it. In any promo that Cambium Networks is doing, you'll be notified. And you also have access to our award-winning portal, which I'll actually introduce to us too, and so much more, like marketing resources, then exclusive webinars and social media groups. By being a connected partner, you have access to all this. For instance, like our community page, you can join the community where you get a first-hand, you get to know about the experiences from other partners and also end users. So you might actually encounter some problems, and then just by asking the question on the community website, you get a first-hand experience, sort of. People that have gone through the same process will be able to explain to you, and then you keep going with that. So now going into the deal registration. So this deal registration is from the portal. You can be able to enter a deal. Maybe you are bidding for a particular contract. Then you enter this deal on the website. Now this is the essence of entering the deal. The benefits, it reduces the channel conflict in the sense that once you as a partner enters that particular deal, no other partner can enter that deal under Cambium Networks. So it helps to protect your investment. All the time that you will spend trying to convince the customer is going to help you to secure that deal, because it has already been entered by you. So at the end, if the person is going to go, no other person can be able to give such deal they are going to give, because as you are registering the deal, there are discounts that you are going to get from it. So these are the products that are eligible for deal registration. You have a CM Matrix, CM Pilot, C Ranger, and the Wi-Fi 6, Xeros, PTP, 450, 670. And now these are the requirements. For you to register a deal registration is just intended for first deployment. Then under this first deployment, you have that the person must be a new customer, and then it must be for a new application, a new market, and new products. So you can actually have a deal for different for the same customer, but if it's going to be the same customer, they must be different products. It can't be one particular product. So it's just like each deal that you are registering, it's going to be for that particular product and for that particular customer once. Then for the deal must be for is an end customer project. It's not for a reseller. It's just the customer must be registered for it. And then this deal, for you to be able to get it, it must be registered at least 15 days before the purchase is being made. So every other product for this that is eligible for this deal registration doesn't have a minimum. It doesn't have a baseline, doesn't have a minimum. But once you want to register for point to multi-point or point to point, CN Reach or CN Ranger, then the minimum deal is $20,000. So once you register on the portal, once you want to create the deal, this is your dashboard. From the dashboard, just below it at the end, you will see the pipeline deal registration. you create your deal. Once you enter this deal, now this deal is something that once it is open, is going to last. The deal timeline is 180 days. If the deal is not closed within this 180 days, it's going to expire. So you are going to ensure that as you open the deal, you keep on engaging the customer till you end up closing the deal. And then once this deal is closed, the deal registration ID will be assigned to it once it is closed won. If it's not closed won, no deal ID will be assigned to it. So from the benefits, like I told us, having access to our learning portal. Now, for you to access the learning portal, you can actually access some with the connected partner portal. You have access to your learning tracks, sales, marketing tools, many tools that can help you in order to sell the products. But for you to be able to access a learning portal, it's so robust that it gives you access to all products of Cambium Networks. It tells you what the product does. It takes you through a training phase. So with that, you can be able to get to know all you need for that particular product, even if it's not virtually everything, but 80% of what you need for a particular product. And the good thing about this is that the learning portal gives you access to write your certification free of charge. As a connected partner, once you register for any certification, you write it and you get your certificate at no cost. So for you to access the learning portal, you have it below. You can see the website. You'll be able to access it once you register as a connected partner. So from this place, you just see how to access your dashboard. Once you register, you have the user menu. Click on it, then you'll be able to see all that you have access to. So we have the certification exam. Once you click on it, it's going to show you the place where you have both the English, different languages. So you choose the one that you want to write, and then you enroll for it. In the portal, it actually tracks your learning. So from time to time, it's going to be reminding you that, okay, maybe you started a class and you're unable to complete it. It will keep on reminding you that you have a pending class which you are yet to complete. So that way to keep you updated. So with this Cambium Networks portal, you have access to marketing resources. It's going to, even if you as a partner have an event that you are planning, you can as well put it on the website. You have playbooks. You can create your playbooks. Many resources to help you in your marketing. You have email marketing, and then new resources are added weekly. This way, you're not going to miss anything. And at the same time, it's going to make it to be connected to your clients. So for you to get access to the portal, if your company has not registered, you can also just register your company. But for you to register, your email, it must be a company mail. It doesn't accept an individual mail. So you just register your company, and once it's approved, every other member of that company can as well register. All you need to do then, you just put your email, choose a password, you click on request an account, put your email and your password. Once it recognizes your company's email, automatically it will give you access to the portal. And some people must have read, if maybe this portal was actually updated recently. So if you've not really logged in a long while, it will require you to kind of, it's just like you want to create an account again. So you just need to go through the process of creating an account. But this time around, you're not going to be actually wait for approval. It's just going to just take you straight. Once you click on request an account, you put your details, change your password, and then it will take you to the page. That's all you need to do. And the beautiful thing about this portal also is that even as you're going through the portal, it enables you to earn points that can, at the end of the year, you might be among the lucky winners that will get a surprise gift. So it's just encouraging you that as you are spending your time on the website, you also have something that is kind of a motivation for you. So generally, this is what you need to, these are the benefits of being a connected partner. So thank you for your time. So if there are questions, thanks.
Leo, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. I think we received a couple, one question asking if we are going to send the presentation, that the one that you went through today. And of course, the answer is yes. Rachel will take care of it. You're going to receive some contact with all the information, the recording, also the slides that we saw today, the PowerPoint presentation. And I don't see any more questions. I don't know if anybody else would like to ask something. This is the right moment. Anybody else would like to make some question to Rachel or to Livingstone? I don't see anybody. Let's wait a few seconds. We can also activate your microphone in case you want to talk during the session. Okay, there are no questions. I think we can close this session. I don't know if Livingstone, you would like to say something to close up this webinar, and then Rachel will be shortly in touch with all of you people that registered and also the live attendees.
Okay, so I would want to seize this opportunity to thank all the attendees for today's session. We want you to know that this kind of webinars would be a regular thing. And also, we can engage you on a private level where we can explain the technologies, our solutions in greater depth and details. If you also need a specific training for your team concerning our products and solutions, I can always schedule a time to do that for you. So the idea is for us to transfer as much knowledge from us to you that will help you to deliver almost every type of solution that your clients require. So I would like to thank you once more for attending today's session, and we expect to see you during the next session as well.
Okay, thank you all. See you online next time, and we'll be yes, Adamson, we're going to share the slides. We will do that for you. And see you online next time. Take care.
Thanks,
and
bye,
bye.
Rachel.
Thank you.